I didn't unmute myself. Hey, Jugsy, thanks for the heads up. I could have sworn I pushed that button. Uh, so anyways, this is the Advice Stream. I'm Jeremy International. We're live on Twitch. We're live on YouTube. We're usually, we play old video games and people submit questions of the advice variety. Thanks, Jugs. So that we can discuss them while we play video games. Today I don't feel like playing video games. I'm sitting on the floor in front of my video game shelf. You can see I've already made a mess because everything's missing. And I was thinking that we would do some reorganization today. No big deal, just going to kind of hang out and get some busy work done. Feel free to hang out too. I see that Jugsy's here. I'm kind of have a setup where I can see who else is streaming right now. So if you're streaming, say hi if you're watching at home. If you would like to seek advice, you can always reach out at JeremyInternational.com. There's a contact form there at the bottom. All previous episodes, give or take, of the advice stream are also available there all the time. But I hope everyone's doing good. I'm hanging in there. I feel like we talk about this a lot on every show. The things seem not great at the moment, and that's okay to be a little stressed or a lot stressed or a little scared or a lot scared, and it's okay to distract yourself from those things when those types of things happen. Prince said that when the elevator tries to bring you down, go crazy. And I am trying to get there. I'm interpreting Prince to mean like dance and have a good time when you can. And I'm not there these days. Sorry, Prince, wherever you may be. And I'm sure most of you are having a hard time being there too. But the important thing is that we stick together and we look out for those of us that are more likely to be targeted by this new, gross, and scary world we find ourselves in. My health has been up and down for a while, so I think I said last time that I'm not going to commit to streaming on any kind of schedule. I'm just going to stream when I want to. And I'm feeling okay, although tired today. And I have some busy work around my house to do, so I figured I would do that. We'll go through my video game collection together. I'll bring out some highlights that I particularly am excited that I have in the collection, or games that I played that I really enjoyed. And if you see something, audience at home, whether you're watching this live or later, I don't think I mentioned this either. I get way more views after the show is live than I do while I'm streaming live. So there will, statistically speaking, it's likely that lots of people will be watching this after the fact. So you know how to reach me, JeremyInternational.com, and you can go to there and say, hey, Jeremy, I don't have an advice question, but I think you should play that one game I saw in your video last week. So check it out. I also want to remind everybody, do I have it? That we have a catchphrase for 2025, and that catchphrase is, I love that for you. So if you hear me say that, then that's why I said it. So anyways, you skip a couple days of a show. Did I bring a drink? I made myself a drink. Here it is. You take a couple weeks off of a show and you forget how to do a show, I think is the problem. So we're just going to hang out. This is super chill. I feel like being chill tonight. I have my weekly whiskey. This is the only time that I drink whiskey now, is when I'm live on the internet. And we'll kind of go through the situation here, this mess of a collection, and I crave order and organization in this part of my life. And so we'll work on it together. But I hope that you're having a nice time. If you would like to seek advice, then feel free to, you know how to do it. But I think we're going to start by going through, I'm just picking a system at random here we're going to start with. By going through my Xbox 360 collection. And I think the best way for us to do that is, I hope this doesn't make anybody nauseated, but I'm going to pick up my camera. Here we go. Hold on, everybody. and I'm going to bring it up here, and I'm going to put it right there. How's that? Does that work for people? Cool. So let's start with just the Xbox lineup in general. And I have a few original Xbox games. Most original Xbox games are playable. I should be on camera while I'm talking. Are playable on the newer Xbox systems. I don't have whatever the current Xbox is called, the Series X or whatever. That's a horrible name. I don't have a need to because there's nothing that's exclusive to that console that I want to play. So I just never got around to buying it. And I am not anticipating ever doing so. They've made a big deal. Microsoft has made a big deal about the end of exclusive titles. The only game that was exclusive for a period of time on the Xbox that I really wanted to play was the new Indiana Jones game that just came out on the PS5, and I have a PS5. So we can play that anytime we want. Okay, so let's look. We're going to start right here. Let's look at Xbox. So original Xbox games, speaking of Indiana Jones. I have The Emperor's Tomb. Never played that. Just got that, actually, the other day. And, oh, yeah, and I just got this, too. We're going to stream this for sure is the thing. Favorite horror movie of all time as a video game. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. But we're going to play it as a stream sometime very soon. Crimson Skies is a classic. This, to me, is when I think of the original Xbox, I think of Halo and this. I remember playing this game a lot, specifically with my brother. And then Jade Empire. This is a game that's from the same people that made Knights of the Old Republic, which is one of the best RPGs of all time. And I haven't played this either. There's going to be a lot of, like, I haven't played it either kind of situations when we're looking at these. But we'll get to that maybe someday, too. I never really got into the Arkham Asylum games. I remember being really into the first one when it came out, but I never played any of the other ones. So those are my original Xbox games. But we've got the original Arkham Asylum. I think this is the original one that I played when it was a new game, and that was a good game. I'd also love to go back and revisit that sometime. It was just very... it was just very immersive, that game. Golden Compass. Also never played that. Love those books. This movie version with James Bond and what's her name? is that movie gets a lot of hate, and I actually thought the movie was pretty good. Those books are some of my favorite books of all time. We got Resident Evil. We've got Lord of the Rings, War of the North, which I think is like an RPG style game. There were a lot of pretty good War of the Worlds, Lord of the Rings games that came out around this time. And I think we have more of those that we'll revisit shortly. I've been kind of on a World War II history kick, as white guys in my age group tend to be. This is a game about Midway that I played a few times. It's super fun. Another Lord of the Rings game. This is Conquest. I don't know what kind of game this is. I think it's also like an RPG style game. I should put that with the other Lord of the Rings game. We got some comments. Jugsy's holding down the fort as far as comments go. Jugsy says that Jade Empire is top tier. I should bump it up the list. I will do that, Jugsy. Thanks. I'm assuming this is a comment about the Thing game, as long as you don't have to kill any dogs. Well, remember that ain't a dog in that game, in that movie. I do think that some real dogs do get harmed in that story, though. Not in the actual real life, but in the plot of the movie. But usually the dog that's the problem ain't a dog. This is the Battle for Middle-earth 2. This is a real-time strategy game. This game, the original one was PC only, which was really good. One of the best RTSs I've ever played. This is a sequel to that, and it's very console-y, so it's a little bit less fun. than the original Battle for Middle-earth, but I don't even know if it's possible to play the original um, on a current PC or a console or anything. But I would say that is one of the greatest real-time strategy games of all time. Is the Battle for Middle-earth. Another game that's really good. We might play this on the stream sometime too, because we're going through a lot of Star Trek games. Star Trek Legacy. I think this came out for everything. This is like a real-time, not even like a strategy game really. It's just like a flying a starship simulator. But there's lots of things to do besides like combat. Like you have to get in close and like beam people down or beam them up, and you have to like change the way you use power and energy so that you have enough for your shields and stuff. Super, super cool. Battlefield, Jugsy says, man, Jugsy, thanks so much for showing up. This is fun. We're just like you and me hanging out. Battlefield Middle-earth was better, I reckon, but 2, yeah, 2 is great. I'm not trying to say that Battlefield Middle-earth 2 isn't a really great game. It is, but the original one for PCs was special as far as strategy games go. I'm trying to see if I can move my iPad here so I can see those comments as they come by a little bit better. Perfect. We got The Force Awakens. I don't know, anyone out there play this? I said before, I'm not a giant Star Wars fan. I was when I was a kid, like everybody. But I don't think it's aged super well, even as new stuff has come out. I think Andor is great. Don't get me wrong, I haven't seen the new season yet, but Andor is just good TV. But overall, there's not a lot that Star Wars has put out really ever that I enjoy as a grown-up person. But this game was fun. I never played the sequel to this. Do I have the sequel to this? We're going to find out. But The Force Unleashed was a fun game. Next, we have... we've played a few of these on the stream before. These are Burger King released 3 Xbox 360 exclusive games. We played Sneak King quite a bit, where you're the Burger King, you have to sneak up to people and give them burgers when they don't expect it. And I mean, that game wasn't great because it just was clearly made very cheaply. But I really enjoyed playing that game. It's so dumb. It's just a dumb game. And I mean that in a very complimentary way. Marvel Ultimate Alliance, also such a good game. I originally played this on the Wii, and all of your special moves require you to do all this stupid Wii nonsense. But playing this on a console for grown-ups was way more fun. There's just a lot of like replay ability to this because you can play so many different superheroes and you can unlock different costumes that gives them different powers. Super, super fun game. Jugsy says, I played TFA on Wii, which was awesome with the motion controls. TFA. Oh, Force Unleashed. Yeah, I bet that was fun. I just was kind of mean about the Wii a minute ago. The motion controls were super cool on the Wii. I'm not knocking that. Alan Wake. I played a little bit of this. I played a little bit of the remake. I haven't played the original. I also think we're going to probably stream this. I just stream a lot of horror games around Halloween, and I think we'll get to this too. I wanted to get into Alan Wake because I played through Control a while ago, and Control and Alan Wake have a lot of crossover, and Control is one of the best, one of my favorite games I played in a long time. Super moody, super creepy. That game scared the nonsense out of me multiple times. Control, and also you can play Control like on everything. I think you can play it on your iPhone now. Control is like, in a lot of ways, I think if Severance was a horror movie. It doesn't really have a similar plot line to Severance, but it's got similar vibes, and it was very scary multiple times. Oh yeah, Ultimate Alliance 2. One of the things that I remember about this game really well is a big part of it takes place in Washington, D.C., where I used to live, and there's a level in here that takes place in a subway stop, in an underground subway station in D.C., and looks like they modeled it really accurately after a DC subway stop, which was super cool to see that in a video game kind of unexpectedly. Like, you know, Fallout is made by Bethesda, which isn't far from DC, and there's a big deal about that game being in DC, and sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it's not. But seeing that kind of out of nowhere in Ultimate Alliance was fun, for sure. Jugsy, if you haven't been to Washington, D.C., I'm guessing you haven't because you live really far away, you should check out, well, both of those games, because Ultimate Alliance 2 and Fallout 4 are both, or Fallout 3? Fallout 3 is DC. Speaking of which, Fallout 3. I kind of feel like I want to replay this, to be honest. Fallout 3 is, I also think, is a top tier video game. Anyone that likes to play video games has a lot to get out of Fallout 3. It's just a really big and really deep game, and it's fun, and it's intense at times, and there's a plot that you can actually follow that's kind of fun. The Fallout show on Prime was terrific, and I hope that more people get into the game after having watched that show. Yeah, Jugsy, I'd say hands down Fallout 3 is the best Fallout. We tried to play a while ago, I don't know if you were on that, if you watched that episode, we tried to play the original Fallout, the point and click Fallout game, and it was fun. It's just not a very streamable game. There's not a lot of action in it, if that makes sense. So maybe someday I'll try that again. Dead Space 1 and Dead Space 2. I don't think I have any of the other Dead Spaces. I like scary movies, and I want to like scary video games, but this was too scary for me. No thanks for this. I played maybe an hour into it and then put it down because I could not handle the scariness of all of that. Yeah, Jugsy, you're talking about Fallout 1, yeah. Speaking of top tier games, though, now we've got Mass Effect 1, Mass Effect 2, which is the best one, and Mass Effect 3. And also, if you like video games, there's more modern kind of like compilations of these that let you skip some of the more tedious and less fun parts of these. That's probably the better way to play through the Mass Effect games, but Mass Effect 2 is probably also, it doesn't get, there's not a higher tier than the tier this game goes on for me, as far as kind of very action-heavy RPGs go. I have a whole lot of Call of Duty games. You know, Call of Duty is what it is. We got Modern Warfare 2, we got Modern Warfare 4, and we got Call of Duty 3. You know, I think that I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm a Call of Duty fan. They're dumb and they're expensive, and so many of the aspects of those games are cash grabs, but it's fun. And I'll if it's $40 every few months to play to get a season's pass for that, I'll do it because it's fun. And my brother in particular, but some other people I know play Call of Duty. It's a fun thing to do together. Costs a little bit of extra money. I ain't buying tickets to go to see the Super Bowl or whatever, so I can spend a couple bucks on that. Why not? Call of Duty's fun. I said it. You heard it here. Don't hate. Okay, and to wrap up our 360 games, the original Red Dead Redemption. Also, never played, really like 2, although I'd probably skip to the sequel. But maybe I won't. I don't know. We've got Grand Theft Auto 4, the only Grand Theft Auto game I ever played extensively, and I liked a whole lot this game. It's very, feels very New York, where that game takes place. There's a Civilization game I never played, but we could check that out someday too. We've got another one of Tom Clancy's games here, Rainbow Six, that I also If I ever played, I don't remember. And then lastly, a game we've played a lot on the stream in the past, which I am also a really big fan of, is Space Marine. We never beat this, but we played a lot of it on the stream, and this game's super fun, very satisfying. Space Marine 2 came out, was it this year still? Earlier this year, which is also a phenomenal game. I haven't streamed any of that because it's a new game and everybody else is streaming it. So why bother if everyone else is doing it? That doesn't sound like fun. So that's my original Xbox and my 360 collection. Now we've got some Xbox One games. Let's see how to do this. We can do it this way. So a couple, oh man, I got so many good games on the Xbox One. I got like all hits. I'm gonna start with these, which is all of the new Wolfenstein games, Wolfenstein 2, and New Order and Old Blood. These games are terrific, especially these days if you feel like you want to have a little bit of a Inglourious Bastard style fantasy for a little while, if that makes you feel a little bit better about your place in the world. You can't beat Wolfenstein. Wolfenstein's always been my preferred way to pretend like I'm killing Nazis. So it was good enough for me when I was in middle school, and it's good enough for me now. Wolfenstein never goes out of style. Here's Fallout 4, which I've also played quite a bit of. Also, this is a good game, don't get me wrong, but 3's better. If you're going to play one Fallout, play 3. But this is not an ungood game. It's also great. This is a game I played an awful lot of when I was going through my cancer adventure a few years ago, is the Shadow of War. Or was it the other one? I think it was Shadow of War. This is another Lord of the Rings game, and I got really into this and I played it a lot. This game is dark and it's excessively violent and it's not very Tolkien-y. I think I would have, in hindsight, liked this game more if they had branded it as some other kind of generic fantasy and not try to tie it into Lord of the Rings. Because I played it for a long time now. I will give you that I was going through some tough stuff when I played this game, so it's not all the game's fault. But I think it misses kind of the point of why Lord of the Rings is important to me. Having said that, pretty fun game. Just, if you want to play that kind of game, make sure that you give yourself breaks. Because if you spend too much time in that kind of game, it kind of hurts your soul a little bit. Another really amazing thing that's so great that we can buy today, and this is also out for everything else, including the PlayStation, is the BioShock collection. BioShock, let me know how you feel about this one, Jugsy. BioShock is also a top tier. There are games that I love as much as I love the original BioShock, but there are not games I love more than the original BioShock. BioShock is a unique video game experience, even though it's really ultimately just a first-person shooter. But the depth of the world building and the immersiveness. I'm going to say the exact same thing about Fallout 3. Like when I think about Fallout 3 and when I think about BioShock, when I look back to playing that game, my memory of those games isn't that I'm sitting on the sofa with a controller in my hand. That's how I think about playing most other video games. But when I think about BioShock and Fallout 3, I think about being trapped in an underwater city surrounded by mutated freaks. Or I think about sorting through rubble while Bing Crosby plays in the background. Like, those games build such a consistent and immersive experience that it's hard to remember playing that not as an actual first-person experience. Jugsy says, my girlfriend is the BioShock fan. I enjoy it vicariously through her. The collection here is BioShock 1 and 2. 2 is also great, not as good as the first one. And then also Bioshock Infinite, which is also great, but not as good as the first or the second one. They're kind of in descending order that way. But I can remember like it was yesterday. There was for the original Bioshock, there was a preview you could download for free on the Xbox 360. That was the first 15 minutes of the game, maybe. And it was so specific and so different from anything I'd seen before that I went over my cousin Adam's house, and he'd played through it before and knew how intense it was. So like he turned down the lights and he closed the blinds on the window, and we played the demo together, and it was intense and super, super memorable. We also got for the Xbox One, in a similar thread, the Master Chief Collection. If you like Halo, I went through and played through a bunch of these games not too long ago. Halo was a big deal when it first came out for a lot of different reasons. It was innovative and cool, and I don't know if those hooks from the original Halo have aged really well, because the things that Halo did that were unique at that time aren't anymore. And I had a hard time. I enjoyed it for nostalgic purposes, but as far as like doing a full playthrough of the original Halo, the actual like storyline, I don't think I could sit through it, just because it's so it's everything that made it special in whatever year that came out, 1990 something probably, is kind of passé now. But if you grew up playing Halo and you haven't gone through that first section where the rousing music with like the drums starts to kick in and you're driving the Jeep around for the first time, you should experience that again, because it's a really great and exciting feeling. But as far as playing through the whole game goes, I'm not so sure. I never played The Division, but it seemed really cool, so I got it. Most of these games, by the way, I've bought used on eBay for cheap. I didn't buy all these at full retail price. Oh yeah, another game that I played a lot when when I was sick was Mass Effect Andromeda. This is kind of like the fourth Mass Effect game. Not to overshare too much, but there was a medical test. I had to do like a CAT scan thing of my brain, and it required me to stay awake for 24 hours. I couldn't sleep. And it so happened that that night that I had to stay awake through was the night that this game came out. So I loved Mass Effect so much, the first 3 games, that I said to myself, I couldn't drink coffee or anything. It was gonna be a rough night, but I was like, I can stay up all night and I'll just play Andromeda because it's Mass Effect. And I love Mass Effect. And this will be the thing that like gets me excited to stay up, and I'll just play the game all night long. First day it came out. And this game launched and it was very buggy, and I think it still is. I don't think they fixed everything. There were a lot of graphical problems. The game ran fine. The story is interesting and engaging, and the combat is ultimately Mass Effect combat, which is good. But there were so many graphical problems and bugs that I think I made it a couple hours into this and then found something else to do. Because it was kind of a mess. We did get. No, I guess not what I was going to say. So, anyways, Mass Effect Andromeda. Diablo 3 was, I think, the first Diablo game that came out on a console. I don't think that's true. I think I remember seeing Diablo 1 around. But my wife and I, we played this game a lot early in our relationship, and I think we learned a lot about each other from playing Diablo 3 together. That's really fun as far as Diablos go. I haven't played the new one at all yet. We'll go through the collection. I'm sure that I have it somewhere. But that style of game is also very well executed with Diablo. Alien Isolation, another game that's super good. but too scary for me to play. I played a couple hours of it and then watched someone online finish it because I couldn't get through it because it was too scary. Oh, this is a great game, Mad Max. I think was also out for everything. The Mad Max game is super terrific. It's an open world RPG. Rise of the Tomb Raider. This is, as far as Tomb Raider games go, I've played through most of this and I enjoyed it. And then I'm a big Adventure Time fan. This is an Adventure Time game that came out for, I think, also everything at the time. Unless I'm missing something, let's look around. I'm so happy that that all fit on one shelf. That is all of my Xboxes. Yes. Yes, it is. Nice. Okay, well, that's one system down. That's one system of a down. I hope everybody's doing okay. I'm having fun. At least I'm getting work done, which matters because my basement's been a mess and I'm getting it organized and tidy. We'll take a little break for a call sign. If you're just joining now, this is the advice stream. I'm your host, Jeremy International. We are live on Twitch and we're live on YouTube. I am so sleepy today, unfortunately. But if you would like to seek advice during the stream today, you can go to JeremyInternational.com. There's a submit form at the bottom. You can submit a question anonymously and we will read it anonymously, but you can also throw it in the chat if you're on Twitch or YouTube, if you would prefer to not be anonymous. Everyone's going to at least know your screen name if you do that. But we today are just reorganizing my video game collection. And we're making a lot of progress. We just completed all of my Xbox games, regardless of what the system is for. And that's feeling pretty good. Next, we're going to do... what system should we do next? Why don't we move to doing just below... this doesn't make any sense. But just below the Xbox games, let's put our NES titles. And we are going to need to switch back to sitting on the floor for that. So hang on a sec while I move everything around. And we will start on that part of the journey. I hope you don't get motion sickness. Here we go. Okay. I got a couple new Nintendo NES related games the other day. This is a game that I've heard really good things about. It's called Solstice. You should look it up. It looks cool. It looks really interesting. And maybe we'll stream that someday too. And then I also got Godzilla for the Game Boy. And I have no idea what kind of game this is, but I also got The Hunt for Red October for the Game Boy. What kind of game could this be? We'll have to find out together someday. It's funny the types of things that they made video games of back in those days. Okay, so we're going to do NES now. And this might be a little tricky. It's going to definitely be tricky. Hang on. I'll be right back. I'm going to take them all off of the part of the shelf where they've been. You know what? I changed my mind. Sorry, we're going to do on this shelf instead. We're going to start... Oh man, I wish I had thought about this more better. Let's see what we can do to move all of this around like that. And we'll put this here so we can see more better. And I'm going to do this. Oh man, I'm a mess. We're doing it live. I've been inspired by John Mulaney's live show on Netflix, so just kind of make it up as you go along. We're going to move the Xbox games down a couple shelves, and then we're going to do the PlayStation on the shelves above them. Our PlayStation lineup is much more extensive than our Xbox lineup because there have been so many different PlayStation consoles, and we've got games from all of them, so we want more room for those. So we'll move Xbox down just like this. And then, sorry everybody, we're going to go back up to here. And we're going to put this here, if we can manage it. Okay. And how's this? Okay, so then we're going to do, let's start with PS5. We're going to go backwards in the PlayStation universe. Like I said, Diablo 4, haven't played it yet, but we absolutely will. My wife and I have been playing through Baldur's Gate 3 on and off, and I think we'll get to Diablo after that. Stray is a really cool game. I haven't played this version of it, but I've played it before. You're like a little cat that explores the world. Trek to Yumi, we've also streamed this a little bit on the Switch. That was also a very, very good game. I really would like to someday get into more of the modern Assassin's Creed games. This is Valhalla. Heard good things about that. Bug Snacks is also supposed to be a cool game that I never played. And here's Call of Duty Black Ops. Like I was saying, I'm into Call of Duty. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Vanguard. I prefer my Call of Duty games to be World War II, but I'll play some of the other ones. And then this is Modern Warfare 2. I buy all of these to start off with just to have, be able to play with my brother and hang out. And then I end up getting super into them and then playing all the time. Tales of Arise, my wife is a JRPG fan. So when we come across those, I don't want to speak towards those very authoritatively just because I haven't really played them before. Miles Morales, these Spider-Man games from Insomniac on the PlayStation have been amazing. This was the Ratchet and Clank. I think this was a launch title for the PS5. Sackboy's Big Adventure. Here is Control. Like I was saying, even if you don't like video games, you should play Control. It's great. Just because I Marvel pilled anytime. This is the Guardians of the Galaxy game. I've never heard anything good about it, but I have it. And this is the Alan Wake remaster. But if we stream the original Alan Wake, we'll stream it on the Xbox. That's a couple more PS5 games. Oh yeah, this is a game we'll definitely stream someday, is Pacific Drive. I've watched quite a number of people streaming this online, and it seems really cool. So we'll do that someday. This is a day one edition of No More Heroes 3, which is really cool. I think there's all kinds of cool stuff in the box here. And then Final Fantasy VI. There's a couple other PS5 games that are over closer to the console because we're actively playing those. So we'll just make sure that we leave some space. But that is, unless I'm missing something that I don't see, that is your, oh yeah. And Space Marine 2. Love this game. Beat it super fast. I hope that there's additional content coming because I would like to play more. Really, really enjoyed that game. We'll get to the portable PlayStation games in a little bit. So we have a few. It's a movie. And then this is Metaphor Re Fantasio. This is another game that my wife will get into playing at some point. Just leave it there. Okay, so that brings us to PS4 games. This is a remaster for Castlevania Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night. Big Castlevania fan. And it's cool that you can get remasters of these old games on modern systems. This is PS4, right? Can I open it? Is this PS4? It's PS4. That's what I thought. I recently was able to get into my collection a copy of all 3 of the Castlevania games for the Game Boy Advance, which we'll get to in a minute when we look at our Game Boy Advance games. Those are really hard to find at a good price. It took me a long time to find all of those. But I'm not going to go through every single one of these, just so we can kind of keep moving. But lots of great games for the PS4. A couple more Warhammer games. Space Hulk Tactics is super fun. And I haven't played this one yet. This is Deathwing. I think this is like a Diablo-esque game, if I'm not mistaken. We've got more Call of Duties. We've got a whole bunch of these red label PS4 games. That's like their greatest hits where they re-release them cheaper. You can see how they all have red labels. I've played a few of the Uncharted games, and I like those. A game that's been on my list to play for a super long time is Horizon Zero Dawn. I know there's a sequel to that already, but I'll get around to that someday as well. Persona 5 is in there. I very much enjoyed watching my partner play through that. I somehow have Control for the PS4 also. Weird. So we can play PS4, we can play Control in so many different ways. But it's such a good game. Why not? Can I fit? Close enough. And then we'll skip down, as I thought we would, to the next shelf down for PS4. Are we ready to go to PS? We're ready to go to PS3. We are. So when the PS3 came out, I was Xbox only kid. So if there were exclusives, I didn't have any of them. But we have lots of Uncharted, lots of God of War, Elder Scrolls, Heavy Rain, more Assassin's Creed, lots of Assassin's Creed games. If anyone watching has any experience with Assassin's Creed, let me know what your thoughts are and which games in the series you feel like I should play if I'm going to really get into the Assassin's Creed universe. I also recently found in a box when I was cleaning out our basement, Rock Band and DJ Hero. And I kind of feel like I don't have any of like the equipment or anything, but I kind of feel like I bet you that those drum sets and guitars and stuff are cheap because no one hung on to them and people traded them in everywhere that they could. And I kind of want to get into, having a bunch of friends over and having a couple drinks and just really getting into Rock Band. I miss those days. Why not? That sounds like so much fun. So maybe someday we shall do that. I don't have a way of playing PS2 games at the moment. So I don't generally buy PS2 games because I don't have a way of playing them. and I generally only buy games I can play. But I did recently buy, oh yeah, and then Cyberpunk, of course. I don't think I mentioned this on a previous stream, but I was able to snag a pre-order for a Switch 2, and one of the games I got was Cyberpunk because I really want to play Cyberpunk seriously all the way through and really invest in the story for that. But it's such a time-consuming and immersive game that coming down here to the basement to play it just never worked. I'd always get distracted with something else. So being able to play that on a handheld sounds cool. Being able to play it on a Switch sounds even better. That's what we will be doing in June, assuming something horrible doesn't happen to stop the pre-order from shipping. I just got a PS2 game. I don't know where I put it. But I got a Star Trek game. I'm going to walk around for a minute and look for it, so don't mind no one being on camera. Did I put it somewhere? What did I do? I'm here. The show is going on. The show continues. Don't mind me. I am right here. It'll turn up. I just got it somewhere. But there was a Star Trek game that was out for the PS2, which I got, and we'll figure out a way that I'll play that some other time. We also have a few PSP games. This is also Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night. So another way to play those two games portable. The original version of, I think it's Rondo of Blood, was maybe a TurboGrafx game or something like that, and it's really hard to find. And then Star Trek Tactics. Star Trek Tactics was released on a lot of different systems. It also came out on the DS. This is another super fun, real-time kind of simulation space combat game. I'd be interested. I've never played it on the PSP. It'd be interesting to try that out. It's really fun on the DS. So maybe we'll get around to that later. And then we have one Vita game, and it's empty. So I don't know where the game is for this. Maybe it's in the Vita still. I think I know where that is. So we should probably try to find that at some point. And then that brings us to our PS1 games. And we'll go through those. If you're a regular viewer of the show, you know that we play a lot of Jeopardy games. I don't think we play Jeopardy on the PlayStation, but we will eventually. Star Trek Invasion is also super fun. I enjoy that game a lot. It's got a lot of voice acting from Michael Dorn. If you like that sort of thing. SimCity 2000, we also streamed this for a while. This is not a great way to play SimCity 2000, but it is definitely SimCity 2000. It's just a little tricky to play with PlayStation controllers. One of probably the most valuable games in my collection is the original Silent Hill Black Label. We've also played this a bit on the stream before. So scary. And then this is a game I've been wanting to play and I haven't gotten around to it. This is Heart of Darkness, which is made by the same people that made Another World. And we've played Another World also quite a bit on the Sega Genesis on the stream before. We've got another version of Symphony of the Night. Gosh, we can play Symphony of the Night in so many different ways. If this was a black label instead of a green label, it would be probably much more valuable. But this is a super great Castlevania game. If you like your Castlevania, I'm not going to say that's the best one, but it is a good one. The original Resident Evil, Chrono Cross, and the original Metal Gear Solid also. That is our original PlayStation lineup, right? I don't think I'm missing anything. All right, well, making progress. Why don't we next? We got to figure out where these NES games are gonna go. Maybe they'll go on the bottom here. I kind of like that idea. But before we get that far, let's switch to some Nintendo. We can put those up here. Let me move the camera so you can still see me. Is that okay? How's this? Cool. So let's do this out of the way for now. Let's get our... I've been playing a lot of Wii U lately. The Wii U had so many good games for it. Pikmin 3, and I mean, almost all of these games are available. Let's go through our Wii U library. Almost all these games are available for the Switch. Nintendo, because the Wii U was such a disaster for Nintendo, that they re-released almost all of their first-party games for the Switch later. So we got Pikmin 3, not the best Pikmin, but a really good one. Pikmin 4 is better, and that's the Switch exclusive. We've got NES Remix, which is super fun. They also put this out on the DS. This is like classic, if you can see this picture here, kind of classic NES games that get all weird and are different. We've got Jeopardy again for the Wii U, which is amazing. I've never played any of the Scribblenauts games, but I've heard really good things about them. Scribblenauts Unlimited. I recently just got this too, the Wind Waker HD. Wind Waker is maybe my favorite 3D Zelda game, and the came out for the GameCube originally, and the GameCube graphics are less ideal for people's eyes in 2025. I totally forgot about this until I saw it at a shop really cheap. Breath of the Wild came out for the Wii U. So you can play Breath of the Wild came out, Nintendo released this for 3 different consoles because it was for the Wii U, it was for the Switch, and they're re-releasing it again for the Switch too. So you have all of the different ways that you could play Breath of the Wild if you wanted to. We've got Yoshi's Woolly World, which is a super cute platformer where everything's made out of wool. It's not just a clever name. This is a super fun kind of Diablo-esque Adventure Time game titled Explore the Dungeon because I don't know. My kid and I have been playing a lot of Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. Also, this came out on the Switch, but getting on the Wii U is like $10. So why wouldn't you instead? There's also a Mass Effect 3 for the Wii U, Xenoblade Chronicles, and Hyrule Warriors, a game I have not played yet, but it looks really fun and intense in a bunch of different ways. So that is our Wii U library. The Wii U is fun to collect for because there were a lot of really great games that no one ever talks about for them, and they're cheap because no one wants them, which is really sad. Let's see how far we can go here with original Wii games. We're just going to go down. Anybody have Wii Fit? I still have the board for that, although I haven't played it in a long time. Mario Galaxy 2, also very good Mario game. I want to bring this shelf up. Like... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know if anyone's watching or not, but I'm just going to keep working. I'm going to keep talking to myself. So that's cool. If you're watching, though, and you want to say hi, but I'm just getting my work done. Just getting my work done. Sometimes you gotta do the thing so that you can do the thing. And working together, you know, when you at least think you got someone hanging out with you, sometimes makes it easier to get work done. So that's what we're gonna do. I hope everybody out there is having a good time. Hey, look at that. Easy. Easy as pie. Yeah, but the Mario Galaxy games are great. The original Mario Galaxy was part of the Super Mario 3D All-Stars that they released for the Switch. So the original one's pretty easy to play, but the more the second one is not. You gotta play it on a Wii or a Wii U. But like I was saying, Wii U's are easy to get. They're cheap. The games are super affordable. And if you want to get into some of the hits from the Switch, but you want to stay on a budget, then the Wii U is a good way to go for all of that. There's so much garbage that came out for the Wii, though. Check this out. I don't know what this is, but I bought it. It's Grease, and it's Grease. I think it's like a rhythm game, maybe. I don't know. But like, why? Who's the audience for that? I don't know. I don't know. I think we should leave some space there because there will be certainly more Wii U games coming in, and I have this little Game & Watch that I can kind of set up as a placeholder there. Cool. So, did I miss anything? Oh yeah, another Wii game there. And oh, here is my PS2 game. I told you I would find it. This is Star Trek. Stop me if I've explained this before. Star Trek Voyager Elite Force. It is a first-person shooter that takes place on the Voyager. It is probably the least Star Trek game ever. It says right here, set phasers to frag. Yeah, first-person shooter. It looks really cool. I've seen arcade cabinets of this game before. But I don't have a way of playing it because I don't have a PS2 or a version of the PS3 that can play PS2 games. So maybe someday I will get one and then we can play together on the internet. Cool. Let's move all of this out of the way. All right, now, what should we do now? Let's do, I'm gonna keep holding off on the NES for now because I'm not sure where I want to put those. Let's get some Sega done. And this is gonna be another time where I think I'm probably gonna need to bring this shelf up. Let's see. Just a second, sorry. And okay. Oh, here's another thing. I'm digging through a box. I also found an old GameStop box. And inside is the original Persona. This is super rare well, maybe not super rare, but a fairly rare and valuable game that was my wife's from a million years ago. Of course, it'd be more money if it had the case, but even just the disc alone, I looked on eBay and is often selling for over $100. So that's wild. I didn't even know we had it. I just found it in an old box that we never unpacked from when we moved. And that was probably never unpacked from when we moved in together when she moved out of her own place. So you never know what you're going to find. Super crazy. Oh, wait, here's another one. Another PSP game. This is Dissidia 012 Final Fantasy. I don't know what that is. But we got the room. Okay, so let's get into some Sega. We have a lot of different Sega systems, and we have a lot of games for them. So let's figure out how we want to do this. We have a few Sega Saturn games that I'll bring up. One is another Warhammer game, Space Hulk, for Sega Saturn. This game's super dated, but really cool. And if you know anything about Warhammer, that Space Hulk is always a fun time. We've got, it's a little damaged. You can see there's a crack in there. We've got Independence Day, which is also a video game that exists. And Iron Man and Exo Man of War. I don't know if anyone out there is old enough to remember Exo Man of War. But it's such a weird thing that this game existed on a console. Iron Man, obviously everyone knows Iron Man, but Exo Man of War was a character that was published by a small independent publisher called Valiant in the 90s. And it's essentially Iron Man. It's not really true. Exo Man of War was like a caveman that had like a high-tech alien suit and was super gory and violent and cool for kids in the 90s. And then I have I bought my Saturn from Japan, and it came with a bunch of Japanese games. Also, the only game likely that anyone out there might have heard of is Virtua Fighter 2. Virtua Fighter. So why don't we also bring this shelf up? Wait, is this shelf come up, or is this one of the ones that's permanent? That shelf doesn't go anywhere. No. Okay, well, we'll just really, we'll use it to explore the space. So we'll do it's too bad that the spine is gone for this Independence Day game. Because it's just going to be blank, but it is what it is. Good that this space is kind of big because we can use it to put these unnecessarily large cases. Another system that I don't have is Sega CD, but we got Bram Stoker's Dracula on that. Bram Stoker's Dracula is one of those movie tie-ins that I've bought on every system that I can find. And someday we'll do like a retrospective where we play all of the different versions of Bram Stoker's Dracula video games, and I can tell you that none of them will be good. Okay, so those are Sega Saturn, Sega CD. Here are our Dreamcast games, which was another Sega system. This is the Alien Trilogy, which I also haven't played. I really want to. And we've got a couple other bits and pieces. There was an Echo the Dolphin for the Dreamcast. Oh yeah, this is a game, it's loose, called Omicron, and it's got David Bowie in it. You can see David Bowie on the screen there. And I think his voice is in it too. One game we wanted to play on the stream and we never got around to it is Typing of the Dead, because even though you type in English, it requires a keyboard. It is a Japanese game, and I haven't region unlocked my Dreamcast yet, but it is apparently an easy thing to do. And once I do, I'm a terrible typer and a really bad speller. and that's okay. But I think that'll be a fun game to play. And maybe we can have someone over that's really good at typing, and they can do it. There's a Worms game. Worms used to be on everything. This is a really cool game. Star Lancer is like a spaceship flying game. Blah blah blah, yada yada. This is kind of one of the standards on the Dreamcast that everyone talks about. Is Space Channel 5, which is like a rhythm game. I bet that's fun. And then I also have, this is kind of a weird, I don't even know if this is really a game. This is a kind of an infamous product that came out on the Dreamcast called Seaman. And there's a little microphone you plug into your controller. And there's like a little fishy guy with a human face, if you can see him there. And you talk to him, and he does stuff, apparently. Maybe we'll stream that someday, too. So those are the disc-based Sega games we have. Well, one of the other things that I really like to collect for, and I don't have a lot of these games, but I'd like to get more, also because they're rarely expensive, is the original Sega system. Sometimes it's called the Master System. Came in. This was Sega's competitor for the NES. So what is that? Third gen home console. And all of the games came in these cool boxes with like the white grid on it. You can see it was a very consistent design for all of their games. And this is another, there's a few expensive ones, but this is another system that you can get into collecting. There's a lot of weird games for the Master System, and very rarely are they cost any real money, because it's not a system that's widely collected for. It was just never a big deal here. But Alien Syndrome is kind of like a top-down, it's almost like a Robotron kind of game, if you know what that means. We've played a little bit of Altered Beast across different systems here. Did we play this version? I don't remember. But Altered Beast was another game. It was a Sega game that was arcade and was ported to a lot of different video game consoles. Originally for the Sega Genesis, it was a pack-in for that. We have played a bit of the Ghostbusters. I don't know if you remember, if anyone out there saw this episode. This is actually more of like a business simulator than it is like a action. Let's go find, like, you have to have a budget and you have to invest in like advertising and stuff. It's not a game that you would think anyone would ever want. Space Harrier is a classic. I remember playing this, I want to say on a Commodore 64. It's kind of like fake 3D, and it's super fun. Also, Space Harrier's out for everything. One of the cool things about the Master System is they made two different kinds of games. They made these cartridges that look like what you'd expect a video game cartridge to look like. But they wanted to make sure that they had budget. Look at the manual for Space Harrier, though. Isn't that great? Like, look at that drawing. It looks like a middle school kid did it. I love it. But then to make sure that people had options about buying less expensive games, they also made some games. This is a game called Ghost House. It's like a puzzle platformer. They also made some games on these little cards also. So you had options. The original Master System could play both of these. And when the Sega Genesis came out, the Sega Genesis had an add-on you could buy that could play Master System cartridges and cards. Sega really wanted to kind of they really wanted to have backwards compatibility for those original generation releases on their hardware, which is super cool. Okay, so now we are going to go to we'll start with loose Genesis games. And we got a bunch of those. A lot of these we played because we did a long streak of going through Genesis games. The Ooze, we couldn't really get into the Ooze. You're like a blob. I couldn't figure out the controls. We did have a good time playing The Haunting, starring Poltergeist. This is when you're a ghost and there's a family in the house and you have to scare them until they leave X-Men 2. Almost all these games are platformers. Jurassic Park, classic platformer. Oh yeah, this is a game I really was excited about. This is Dragon's Revenge. It's a pinball game. We couldn't get it to work. And I never figured out why. I don't know where this game came from or how I got it, but the label's in bad shape. It's worn, but this is the original X-Men. It works fine. Played it a bunch. We also have Kid Alex, which is a fun kind of platformery game. The Lion King, which is a very hard platformer, very challenging game. Rampart's a cool like strategy game. This also came out on a lot of different systems. I haven't played it on the Genesis, but I played it on a lot of other. And then of course also in really bad shape, once again, I don't remember where I got this from, but this is Sonic 2. Sonic 2 I think is the best platformer that came out on the Genesis, at least the best one that I played. It kind of takes everything that Sonic does really well and just kind of perfects it. I don't have any of the other Sonic games, which is unfortunate. One of the Genesis games I really want to get, and it's just a little on the pricey side, so it's going to take me a while hunting around to find a reasonable priced one, but is the Ghouls and Ghosts, which is also a very hard platformer. To be honest, I don't see myself playing it a lot because that game is just a rough hang and I don't enjoy it, but the box art is beautiful for it, and I just kind of want it. So maybe someday I'll find it. Here's a couple. This is where we get into the boxed Genesis games. You can see a few there. There's Altered Beast, which was meant to be the pack-in for the Genesis before they realized that Sonic was better. We've got, what else here is interesting? Star Trek: The Next Generation. This is a pretty good game. It's not just action. It's kind of Star Trek-y a little bit. Batman Returns is a great platformer for the Genesis. And there was a bunch of these strike games. Do I have any other ones? I don't think I do. But this is Jungle Strike, which is super fun. You're just like a helicopter and you blow stuff up. If you like that sort of thing. This is a new release from Retrobit. This is like a remaster of, I think, the first several Mega Man games. Super cool. There's all kinds of cool stuff in this package. I also don't love Mega Man. I know that's a controversial statement, but those games also are so hard. Why do they need to be hard? That is a Sega Genesis game, but it came out not too long ago. This is another recent Sega Genesis game. This is Garius, and it's like a shoot 'em up. I think that this was a game that originally came out for the Genesis. Look how cool that is. But this is just a more modern release of it. Let's open it up and have a look, because I don't know what's inside this box. I'm sure that I knew at one point and I can't remember. So under the sleeve you have, this is a much more standard looking Genesis box, and you open it and oh cool. And it's made out of this like translucent plastic. It's kind of hard to see that, I think. I like a good shoot 'em up game, and I hear that this is a good one, so we should try it out at some point. But as far as side-scrolling shoot 'em up games go, I will tell you that my favorite on the Genesis, maybe my favorite shoot 'em up of all time, is right here, and that is, where'd it go? Is Wings of War. We played this. That's War, W-O-R. We played this on the stream a few times, and this is just a really responsive, really tight controls, fast-paced game. Instead of like a spaceship, you're like a guy with wings. But this game's totally rad, and if you can find it, find a way to play it on your Sega Genesis at home, you should. And then lastly, we have Out of This World. We were talking about this before. We played this a lot on the stream. And then another game in the same tone, which is Flashback. And then And then. Star Control is like an outer space, like empire building game, which is fun. I've only played a little bit of it. We got Golden Axe, which is not a big deal. And then also Spider-Man. This is really fun platformer, Spider-Man. And that is our Sega Genesis situation. So we are making some progress. Oh, we didn't put our Saturn games all together. Here, I'll just put them here. Okay. So now let's move to here. Let's get back down on the floor. Let's have a sit, everybody. Sorry that I just made everyone look at my butt. Oh, okay. I hope everyone's doing good. What time is it? It's 10:19. I'm getting work done. I don't know if anyone else cares, but I'm having a nice time. Oh, we got some spam. That's unfortunate. But I think I have to get up and go to my computer to remove it. And I'm probably not going to do that. So we'll just leave it there for now. Here are I would love to have more TurboGrafx-16 games. But these are pretty consistently hard to get at the amount of money that I'm prepared to pay for a video game. We'll go through a little bit of what I got, and we can just kind of sit them on a shelf because we don't have many of these. But Dungeon Explorer is, I believe this is kind of like a gauntlet style game. Alien Crush is a really fun pinball game. R-Type, this is another really, really good. I don't play a lot of shooters, but if I find a shooter that's really smooth and fast, I'll play it, and R-Type is one of those. This game was so big it came in 2 parts. I only have the first part. Here's Space Harrier again. We have that on a lot of things. Splatterhouse, we played this quite a bit on the stream too. Ninja Spirit and Bonk. So why don't we don't have to be particular about this. We'll put those next to the PlayStation games. Why not? Cool. Okay, so next, while we're on the floor, let's do... here, we're just going to shift our Atari games up a shelf. We'll find something else to have at the bottom. So I have an Atari 2600. Well, I have an Atari 2600 Plus that can also play 7800 games. We have a few of those. I'm not really going to go into a whole lot of detail about all of these, but some of these are extra cool, like Raiders of the Lost Ark. Most of these games aren't super fun to play for any period of time, but they're fun for a little bit. Also, these games are almost always very inexpensive to play. This is E.T. for the Atari. This is kind of infamously supposed to be one of the worst video games ever. I played it a bit, and I feel like I played worse games than this. It just is a little tricky to figure out how it works. But if you look up someone online that knows a lot about it, and they kind of show you the basics of the game. Games back then didn't have like manuals or anything. It was a little clunky. We got Space Invaders, we got Breakout, we got Combat and Pac-Man, Defender. Oh yeah, Berserk is a cool game. It'd be pretty easy from the 2600 Plus that I have to stream these. Maybe we'll do a weird Atari day someday. And then I have 2 7800 games. I have Joust, which was one of my favorite old old school arcade games, if you ever played Joust. And then I also have, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Karateka, which is one of the first like fighting games, karate games. And it's also surprisingly fun for a game that old. But those are for the 7800. And then I have, oh yeah, this is so cool. This is a modern game, but made for the 2600 Dragon's Descent. This seems really cool. I don't think I'd be able to show you pictures of what the gameplay looks very much, but you should look it up online. And then I have a very nice, very complete Star Trek game, but it's for, can you see that? The 5200. And I don't have any way of playing 5200 games. They made this game for the 2600 and the 7800. Why did you do that, Atari, with all of that nonsense of just naming games, your systems with random numbers? But those games are expensive, and I haven't been able to find one that I would pay for. Let's start dealing with these Nintendo cartridges. How should we do that? I keep, for the time being, I need to find a better way to have these, but I keep all of my Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games in this plastic container, which stinks because I never see them and I forget that I have them, and that's too bad. One thing, oh yeah, I forgot about this. One thing I really want to do, so they made a camera for the Game Boy. If you follow Game Boy stuff, you've probably seen this a million times. And they also had like a little printer you could take pictures and print it off. But I could use this through my analog pocket as a webcam for when I stream, as a second camera. And I've never done it before, but I don't think it'd be too hard to do. And I really want to do that. So we'll stay tuned. We'll do that one of these days where I'll stream from this. I bought a while ago a lot of Game Boy Advance games, like not like a whole lot, but like a collection of them already on eBay. And I'm pretty sure that they're all fakes. I'm not an expert on determining that, and I probably need to get a second opinion, but I'm a little concerned that they're all phonies. I didn't spend a lot of money on it, but I spent some. I don't know if anyone was around, but we played this as an Atari Jaguar game about Dracula, and we played this for a little bit, and it sucked. And I'm so sorry to say that. I hope no one that worked on this game is out there, but boy, that was not a fun game to play. But we stuck through it, and we played quite a bit of it, despite how unfun it was. But well, first off, I need a bigger box because I'm running out of space. Let's go through this and see if we can consolidate a little bit. Yeah, these Atari Lynx games are super cool. This was Atari's handheld. I'd like to get more of those. There's an adapter for the analog pocket that lets you play these really easily, but they're super thin and they're really tiny. And there were some really good games. This is a game called Xenophobe for the Lynx, which is fun. It's kind of like a side scroller. It's almost kind of like a horror survival game, really, if you think about it. I think I can pack these in a little bit more to get some more space in here. This is a little bit of a mess. So let's take them out. One of the games that I play way more than I probably should admit is Snood. You know what Snood is for the Game Boy Advance? It's like it's like a Connect 4 kind of game. But Snood for the Game Boy Advance is one of my faves. Heavily played Snood. What else do we have in here that's extra cool? so much. One of the other games that's probably on the pricier side in my collection it's in this case, I'm not going to take it out right now, is the original Fire Emblem. If you can see that. This is a pretty pricey on the secondary market these days, on the collector's market. When I bought it a very long time ago before it was. But we've got all kinds of stuff in here. Here is Bram Stoker's Dracula on the Game Gear. We'll include that in our retrospective if we ever get there. We've got all kinds of Game Boy games. Ooh, I have to put this back in the box. Also, another game in the collection that's pretty valuable is Metroid 2. I have a complete copy of this. I don't know how it ended up there. I need to put that back where it belongs. Metroid 2 is probably my favorite game on the original Game Boy. That game is so good for a Game Boy game. You know, it's the original Game Boy, so it's green. And that's it. It's green and green. But it holds up very well, and it is a very, very fun game to play. And has lots of satisfying exploration-y stuff in it. Yeah. So let's put all of our... let me take this out of this little baggie because that's just wasting space. Yeah, I know, Jugsy. Thanks for telling the bot to go away. Yeah, so I have there were several Metroid games for the Game Boy Advance. There were several Castlevania games for the Game Boy Advance, and they're all very good games. There's a good chance that we'll stream those someday. Also, the Minish Cap Zelda game, which you can play on the Switch now, is also a lot of fun. These there were also several Mario and Luigi RPGs on the Game Boy Advance. I played a bit of this one, which is called Superstar Saga, and it's a turn-based RPG, but you're Mario and Luigi, and they're super fun. Also, oh yeah, we'll have plenty of room once I actually put these in order. Advance Wars is great. You can also play that on a Switch these days. You don't need a Game Boy Advance for that. The Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games also seem like they're a lot of fun. I've never played those, but I have a couple of them. They also did Marvel Ultimate Alliance on the Game Boy Advance too. Lots of Lord of the Rings games on the Game Boy Advance. Keep Snood at the top so I can get to it when I want to. Perfect. See, you put everything in the right order, and it just works. Before I forget, let me get Metroid 2 back in its box. And while we're doing that, we can look at what's inside the box because it's so cool. There's so much cool stuff there. But I think you can also play Metroid 2 on the Switch. I think it's in their online subscription service. But if you're looking for like a really good exploration, you know, open world, but still platformer game, then you should do Metroid 2. Do I have a hard case for it? I want to keep this game in good shape because this is not cheap. I'm just going to borrow the hard case from Dracula and put Metroid 2 in there. But yeah, I had such a good time playing Metroid 2. Oh, will it not fit in if it's in the case? I'm sorry, this is like the worst hosted live stream ever. I'm like not even looking up at the camera most of the time. Yeah, so it only fits in the little cardboard box without a case on it. That's too bad. But in this is how complete it is. We've got a little ad for Nintendo Power Magazine. We've got the health and safety booklet. And then we also have the manual. I think the only thing this is missing is that these also usually come with some kind of like warranty card. And this didn't have that, but it's otherwise got everything super complete. Otherwise, I'm being very careful with it because that is a big, big part of my collection. I'm very happy that I have. But man, I had a good time. Good time playing that game. Okay. So there goes our loose Game Boy and other handheld systems box. We'll just put it there. I need to figure out a better way to store that stuff so that I can see what I have and remember what I have instead of never picking through that box. Let's keep going. This is also, I can put this here. Okay. As far as boxed, while we're talking about Game Boy, as far as boxed Game Boy games go, let's look at those real quick too. So we talked about Metroid 2. This is Star Trek Generations. You know, my ultimate goal is to have complete box copies of all console Star Trek games. This is also Star Trek, and this is also Star Trek. All complete, more or less, but we can put those here, I think. These are new Game Boy games. This is Boy and His Blob game for the Game Boy that just came out from Limited Run. And then this is a really cool game that I should also stream. There's two parts of this. This is the Shapeshifter, which is also from just a few years ago, but it's a Game Boy game. We can put those here. And then let's go through. We're going to shift our GameCube games up one. Is what we will do. Are they going to stay? We'll stay. GameCube. I think this is all of them. Okay. My kid and I had a really good time playing Luigi's Mansion the other day. This is the first one. I think you can only play this on the GameCube. I don't think this was ever released for anything else. But Luigi's Mansion 3, and also I think 2 are on the Switch. We've got the original... Where'd it go? The original Pikmin and Pikmin 2 on the GameCube are there. We've got, these games were great. I don't think they did one for the Fellowship, but they did the Two Towers and Return of the King. These are kind of like light RPG action, but mostly just like hack and slash games, but are very cinematic and fun. The Wind Waker, of course, is a must for that generation, but you can play it on the Wii U, and with the Switch 2, if you have Nintendo's online service, you'll be able to play it on that too. Another pretty valuable game that I'm too scared to play in the collection is Eternal Darkness. I wanted this for a long time before I found it, but this is a creepy horror game. I don't know what that is. This was the Sam Raimi Spider-Man tie-in. We've got Metroid Prime. Oh, this is, speaking of Star Wars, great, great game is Rogue Leader for the Nintendo for the GameCube. I think that kind of sold a lot of people on the GameCube. Just that game. I remember that was a big way that they demoed the GameCube. My GameCube also has a Game Boy Advance player attached to it, and you need to have a little disc in order to get that to work. So you can play Game Boy Advance games on your GameCube, which I used to do a lot, but I don't need to do anymore because the analog pocket connects to TV pretty good. All right. So. Let's. I need a better way to store my NES games, is what I need. Because the only way I can do it now, let's switch to looking in this direction. The only way I can do that at the moment, how does this look, is by stacking them. Hey, I'm sorry, Jugsy, I'm late on this message if you're listening to this later, but thanks for hanging out. I'll see you around. Hopefully we'll be doing more of these. But here, I'm going to lower this a little bit so everyone can see. The only way I know to store these is to stack them on top of each other. And that works, but it's super inefficient because what if I want to play the one on the bottom? I could do them like this. Should I do them sideways? I'm not really putting these in any kind of order. I could do that. I feel like that's a very inefficient usage of space, though. But let's see how far I can go. I'll regret later that I haven't put these in any kind of logical order. Because there'll be a time when I'm looking for a specific game and I won't be able to find it because they're all jumbled up. But it's getting late and I need to have this in some kind of sustainable condition before I go to bed. And then I have some boxed NES games, not many, but we can put those here and that'll kind of help them hold them up. What are the NES games I have that are boxed? We can look at these if you want to. We've got Bubble Bobble Classic. And Maniac Mansion will definitely stream this someday. That's been on my list of things to stream for a long time. We have, this is also, I'm not going to take it out of the box to show you. This is in such good condition and it's so complete, is Final Fantasy. Not the most valuable thing that I have, but certainly one of the coolest. I love that. I think that's great. Remote Control, for kids that might not remember, was an MTV game show. And this is a game version of that. Maybe we'll stream that someday as well. I would love, all of the launch NES games, the first person NES games came in these black boxes. And they're all pretty hard to find. But maybe someday I'll have more. This is my only black box NES game is Gyromite, which is a game that you normally would play with the little robot add-on, which would also be super cool. So then I have a Next Generation and a Star Trek 25th Anniversary also complete. So let's go. Let's keep going. I have so many NES games, don't I? We're just going to keep going with the NES until we've got them all somewhere. Okay. Nope, wrong way. I flip these around at some point. Oh my God, I'm losing my mind. Let's go back. There. The pinchy part goes like that. You can see, I don't know if you can see this or not, but some of these have sleeves and some don't. I have a box of sleeves around here somewhere that I need to set up. You have to like fold them and it's just a huge pain, but I will do that one of these days. It stays pretty clean down here, so I don't necessarily think, we streamed this once, Where's Waldo? That game does not work out so good when you have a 8-bit resolution. It is very hard to find Waldo, even when you're looking right at him. It's hard to tell. I think that was a really strange choice that the people that made that game made. Yeah. All right, well, that's working. So we'll just do another row down here. And we'll just keep on keeping on. I don't think that I'm going to be super worried about these getting like dusty down here or anything. Now the question is, what do I put down here to hold them into place? Yeah, I don't love this as a location for these. We'll probably have to redo that at some point. But it is okay for now. I don't like how close they are to the floor. Okay, well, I think that it's probably time to wrap it up for the night. I'm going to keep working on this a little bit, and we'll be back next week. Maybe. We'll see. But thanks for tuning in, everybody that did. Hope you have a good night. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you when we see you. Have a good night.